Overnight, the ship has cruised back to Cape Breton, and we continue our exploration of this beautiful island by stopping in Englishtown, a town with a fascinating history and incredible natural wildlife wonder just nearby.
The island's an absolute mecca for bird lovers. If you love puffins, this is the perfect place to check them out. For me, it's the bald eagles. I think they're just incredible creatures, and you will see them during this trip. My destination today, however, is not about birds, it's all about history. So we're off to Englishtown.
The Atlantic puffins and razorbills on nearby Bird Island call us as we jump into the Zodiacs to head into town. Englishtown is one of the oldest settlements in North America, having been established as a French fishing port in 1597 and turned into a military fortress known as Fort Dauphin in 1629. There followed a colourful war history as the French battled the English for nearly 100 years, eventually losing the fort with the English destroying it in 1745. This part of Nova Scotia is simply sublime, and there's so much to see. Not far away is a picturesque town of Baddeck, in the heart of beautiful Cape Breton. It's considered the beginning and the end of the world-famous Cabot Trail, and its location on the water is truly incredible. Described as a basin ringed by indigo hills, laced with marble, islands within a sea inside an island, it's easy to see why UNESCO has declared this place a World Heritage Biosphere Reserve.
The region's most celebrated citizen would have to be Alexander Graham Bell, who discovered this place and spent the last 37 years of his life living here through the summer months. Now, Bell was an incredible achiever. He was a humanitarian, an engineer, an author, but most importantly, he was a world-famous inventor. And his contribution to mankind is recognised in the museum that's been built here and celebrates all of the achievements this remarkable man's mind had. He really thought about things in a very different way. It's all documented here, and it makes it well worthwhile visiting. Alexander Graham Bell's mind must have been so incredibly creative, and he was a collaborative human being. He actually worked with other inventors to create the most amazing machines. He worked on things like submarines, but also on flying machines. And back in the day, he joined with a number of other people, funded by his wife Mabel, to create the Aerial Experiment Association. Now, this included some really eminent inventors, including a guy named Thomas Selfridge. Now, he'd worked with Orville Wright to develop the very first flying machine. Sadly, he was killed flying one of these experimental planes, and it did bring an end to the association, but not before they'd actually flown this plane, the Silver Dart. And it was such a big event that the whole town shut down, including the schools, and everybody came out to watch this plane fly, which it did for 3 minutes before landing safely. It was such a big event that Bell invited everybody back to his house to celebrate afterwards. Bell was an incredibly compassionate man. In fact, he spent his whole life trying to help people who couldn't speak learn language. And his wife, Mabel, well, she was remarkable in her own right. Born profoundly deaf, she learned to speak 4 different languages. Bell, as a teacher, helped many people, but probably no more famous than this one on this picture here, Helen Keller, who went on to become an inspiration for many people with disabilities. And of course, the rest of us who just marvelled at her incredible achievements.
The township isn't all about Bell and his achievements. It's very much about food, with so many incredible restaurants and a reputation for its bakeries. So make sure you set aside some time to enjoy this part of the Baddeck experience.
I've got to tell you, this is a beautiful little town, and you should check it out whether you like the museum or not. It's just gorgeous during the summer months. Even better if you come here in the autumn. See, this is the beginning and the end of the Cabot Trail, and when this place colours up in the autumn, it is mind-blowing. The deciduous trees are simply spectacular. Oh, if you come here during summer, make sure you get your hands on one of these ice creams. They're delicious.